This is a helpful video for students wanting to graph linear equations or graphing lines. So we have this equation here, y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. Now the general equation for a line is y equals mx plus b. So we have two things to identify here, the m value and the b value. Those are the things that we need to know in order to graph this line. So our slope is also called m, the slope, or the steepness, or the rate of change. All those things mean the same thing. Our slope is the number in front of the x term, which includes the symbol if it's positive or negative. So the number in front or to the left of the x term in our equation is negative 1/3. Okay? Now the starting value, or the y-intercept, is b in our equation. That's the number that's by itself, that's alone. Okay, so the number by itself usually is at the end, but it's also with the sign, so we have a positive 3. Now a lot of times in math, if it's positive, we get lazy and don't write a plus sign. We just write the minus if it's negative. So this is make sure that's a positive 3. So I'm going to start with my starting value, and I'm going to make a point at positive 3. That's our starting value, or our y-intercept. Now slope is, you may have heard rise over run before. So slope is, I either go up and down first from my starting point, and then I go left and right. Okay? So since we have a negative 1 on the top of our slope, at the top of our fraction, we're going to go down 1 because it's negative. Okay? So I'm going to go down 1 spot, then I go left or right. Now I have a positive 3, so that's going to go to the right 3. So I go 1, 2, 3. So here's another point. I'm going to do this again. I go down 1 because of the negative 1 on top, and I go to the right 1, 2, 3, a little bit off the graph, but that's okay. Now I want to see some on the other side of the graph, not just on the right, but on the left. So I'm going to go back to my starting value, and I'm going to go the opposite direction. Okay, so it's kind of like I'm giving the negative to the 3 now instead of to the 1. So I'm going to go up 1. So I'm assuming that's going to be a positive 1. I'm going to go to the left 3 because now it's a negative 3. And here's my point right there. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to go up 1 and left 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to connect that with a line. Now our line goes in both directions forever. So as long as I do a good job connecting them, that looks pretty good. So there is our line. Okay. So make sure you find the starting value is where we put our point first, and then we need to do the slope and make sure with your slope that it's the positive or the negative value. If it's negative, your line needs to be going down. If it's a positive slope, your line needs to be going up as it goes towards to the right direction. Okay, we're going to do a different one now, one more example. Here's our equation, y equals negative 6x plus 3. So here's our normal equation, y equals mx plus b. Okay, so our slope, or the m value, is the number in front of the x, including its sign, so the slope is negative 6. The y-intercepts, or I'm going to call it the starting value, I'm just going to shortcut that starting value, which is the b term in our equation, is the number on the end by itself, which in this case is again plus 3. So I'm going to start with my starting value at positive 3. Now this time my slope is not a fraction, and I'm going to make it into a fraction. All you do is divide by 1. If you divide any number by 1, it's still the same number, still the same amount. Right? If you have 5 chocolates and you're the only one eating them, you still have 5 chocolates. You split 5 chocolates among one person. So now we have our slope. So we have the up and down, the rise and then the run. Okay, so we're going to go down 6, because that's on the top of our slope. So I'm going to go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's my next point. Oops, not a point yet. Let's undo that part. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to go to the right 1, positive 1, because that's what I added on the bottom. So here's where my next point is. Make sure you do both the up and down and then the left and right. And that's about all I can fit on this graph. If I had a little bit bigger graph, I could go down 6 and over 1 again, or I could go back to my starting value and go up 6 and to the left 1. Okay? So let me connect these 2 points with what we have as best I can. So this is a really steep line. You can see the difference between this line and the previous one. That one had a smaller slope, a smaller number for the slope. This one has a bigger number, -6 is a larger number for slope, so it's more steep. So again, both of these have negative slopes. Negative means it's going to be going down. If it was positive, which both of those were not, it would be going up this direction. Okay, so both of these lines went down, and they happen to have the same starting value. So you make sure you find your slope and your starting value, also called the y-intercept.